Om Sahana Vavatu Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmaracharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Good. Be seated, please. Parameshvara. Om. Good. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvisha vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Good. Nice to see you all this morning. Welcome also to all of our viewers watching online. Before we begin today, we'd like to take a moment to prayerfully acknowledge all of our friends in Ukraine, families, mothers, fathers, children, who sadly their country is being invaded, they are under attack. So we'll just offer a very brief prayer for their safety and welfare. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Very good. We will begin this morning with some recitation. We'll start with verse 12. As always, please look at the translation while I'm chanting and then repeat after me. Excuse me. Ye chaiva satvika bhava, ye chaiva satvika bhava, rajasas tamasascha rajasas tamasascha matta heveti tan vidhi, matta heveti tan vidhi, natvaham te shute mayi, natvaham te shute mayi, tribhir gunamayar bhavair, tribhir gunamayar bhavair, ebhis sarvamidam jagata, ebhis sarvamidam jagata, mohitam nabhijanati, mohitam nabhijanati, mamebhyah paramavyayam, mamebhyah paramavyayam, Daivi hyesha gunamayi, Devi hyesha gunamayi, Mama maya duratyaya, Mama maya duratyaya, Mameva ye prapadyante, Mameva ye prapadyante, Mayam etam taranti te, Mayam hetam taranti te, Namam dushkritino mudhaha, Namam dushkritino prapadyante naradhamaha, prapadyante naradhamaya Mayaya pahrita jnana, Mayaya pahrita jnana, Asuram bhavamashitaha, Asuram bhavamashitaha, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, Jana Sukriti Norjuna, Jana Sukriti Norjuna, Arto Jignasurartarti, Arto Jignasurartarti, Jnani cha bharatarshabha, Jnani cha bharatarshabha, Tesham Jnani Natya Yukta, Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyo Hi Jnani Notyartam Priyo Hi Jnani Notyartam Aham Sacha Mama Priyaha Aham Sacha Mama Priyaha. Very nice. We will return, it's verse 14 that we'll start with today. Just a brief introduction so we can pick up the thread properly. This chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, deals with knowledge of Ishvara, and we've discussed at some length how significant it is that Sri Krishna presents Ishvara, the God of the cosmos, not merely as a matter of faith or belief, but as a reality to be known, a reality to be understood, a reality really to be discovered. As we go along, we'll discuss how that discovery is significant, because you actually discover that divine presence within yourself, and you personally discover Ishvara. So it's not left up to belief, but you're given the opportunity to personally confirm the existence and nature of Ishvara. In our prior discussions, we had used a number of metaphors, drishtantas, to represent how it is that the entire universe comes forth from Ishvara. And the last of the metaphors, and we'll say the best of the metaphors. Remember, we've observed that all metaphors are inherently defective. So we'll say that the last of these metaphors was the least defective. That would be a fair characterization. And the least defective metaphor was that of a dream. At night, you create a dream world with people and things, and you are the creator, sustainer, and destroyer. When you wake up, that dream world returns to you. So for your dream creation, sorry, just checking this, it's all fine. For your dream creation, you are Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. For your dream creation, suppose someone in your dream prays, Hey Vidhata, O Master of the Universe. Who are they praying to? Right? You, laying in your bed, having this wonderful dream, are the creator. Further, what is the relationship between that dream creature praying to you and you? The dream creature and the whole dream creation is within you. It arises from you. It is sustained within you. As we said, it returns to you when you wake up. So there is a condition of non-separateness between the dream and the dreamer. And this is crucial for our understanding of Ishvara, because our understanding of Ishvara is that we are not separate from Ishvara. Ishvara is not up there in some far-off loka, some heavenly domain, but rather we are non-separate from Ishvara. That topic will come today. But now to introduce this verse that we'll start with today, verse 14, discusses Maya. And Maya is a term that is often confused. It's used here. It's used in Advaita Vedanta as a technical term. So often it's casually translated as illusion or even magic, which are fine in vernacular languages if you're speaking in India. But here we're using Maya as a technical term. So let's define Maya properly, and then we'll see this verse. In order to create your dream world, you require a certain power or capacity to create your dream. You have, can we call it, you possess dream Shakti. Shakti means power. Dream Shakti, Swapna Shakti, if we want to use all proper Sanskrit terminology. You are the possessor of that Swapna Shakti. If you didn't possess it, you couldn't create your dream. Just as you possess the power, the Shakti to create a dream, Ishvara possesses, listen carefully now, Ishvara possesses the power or capacity to create this entire universe, and that power or capacity to create has a technical name, which is Maya. Maya, properly understood, used as a technical term in Advaita Vedanta, Maya specifically means the power or capacity through which Ishvara creates the universe. So we can't translate that as illusion. It may mean illusion in some other contexts. But here we're talking about Ishvara. Maya is the creative capacity possessed by Ishvara through which the universe is created. With that definition in mind, we can proceed to this next verse, and it'll make much more sense with that proper definition. Just before we begin, one of the problems of studying the Bhagavad Gita on your own without any guidance is that you may read based and interpret based on your definitions of these terms. And if you were to read this verse without properly understanding what Maya is, you're certainly not going to get the right meaning. Let's continue. Daivi hesha gunamayi, Daivi hesha gunamayi, Mama Maya duratyaya, Mama Maya, excuse me, Mameva ye prapadyante, Mameva ye prapadyante, Mayame tam tarantite, Mayame tam tarantite. So in the second line, Sri Krishna talks about Mama Maya. And now you get the right meaning. The creative power possessed by Ishvara. Sri Krishna here says Mama, mine. And he can say so because he speaks of himself from the standpoint of Ishvara. We discussed how that's so before. I won't go back into that. Mama Maya, this Maya, in fact, this, in the middle of the top line, you have to break apart the words he and Esha. Esha, this Maya, which is Mama, which is mine. He, indeed, this Maya is Daivi, literally divine, which means not of worldly nature, but of otherworldly nature. So Maya is not a power that you and I can possess and wield, but Maya is an otherworldly, a divine power that only Ishvara can wield, can possess and wield. And that Maya, that Daivi Maya, that divine otherworldly power called Maya, is Gunamayi. In the prior verse, we had some discussion about the 3 gunas, and we discussed at some length in the last class that in the ancient world view, 3 gunas were understood as the stuff out of which the universe is woven. And as you remember, I said just as in modern times we consider the universe to be composed of matter and energy, in the same way they considered the universe to be made of 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. So we're not using, the 3 gunas are also used to talk about qualities of your mind and other things. That's not the context here. The context here is more fundamental. So these 3 gunas as fundamental stuff out of which the universe is woven, just as we think of matter and energy, they thought in terms of 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Now, Sri Krishna here calls Maya guna mayi, literally made of these 3 gunas. And that's it may seem a little obscure. It's actually an important understanding. Here's the idea. If something is made of 3 gunas, the cause from which it came must also possess 3 gunas. We'll go back to our metaphor. The universe consists of matter and energy. That matter and energy had to be present in its source, the so-called Big Bang. Whatever went bang must have had matter and energy in some form. So prior to the Big Bang, there was matter and energy in some form that we don't understand. And from that Big Bang, which possessed matter and energy, the universe, which possesses matter and energy, came forth. The idea is that if the effect, whatever, this is a little technical, this is very typical logic found in our scriptures. Whatever is present in the effect must have been present in the source. Do you see the logic? Whatever is present in the effect, like matter and energy in the world, must necessarily have been present in the cause, which was the whatever went bang. So the fact that there's matter and energy in the world shows that whatever the world came from, the cause for the world, must have possessed matter and energy. Now the ancients looked at the world as being composed of 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. So therefore, based on this reasoning, if the effect, the universe, has 3 gunas, then the cause must have 3 gunas. And the cause, in the most direct sense, is Maya. Maya then is understood as having 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. And from the cause, which has 3 gunas, the effect, which has 3 gunas, comes about. So you can understand a little bit of logic here. An important side note is that it means that the gunas belong to Maya. Ishvara is beyond the 3 gunas. Ishvara is a transcendent reality, God of the cosmos, and must necessarily be beyond the universe. The universe consists of 3 gunas. Ishvara is beyond that, Guna atita is the word that Sri Krishna will use later. So beyond the three gunas. So the three gunas belong to Maya. So that divine Maya of mine, Sri Krishna says, he says it is in the second line, it is dur atyaya. It is difficult to cross. Now, that literally means difficult to cross, difficult to approach, difficult to understand. And let's spend a moment talking about that. Do you even understand how your dreams are made? It's amazing. We have the most bizarre dreams. How? Why? Most of the time we're clueless. Sometimes we can find a connection between what we dream about and what's happening in our day-to-day lives. But so often we're clueless. We have no idea. So we possess that power, but we don't understand how it works. That power through which you create dreams is not easily understood. You see where this is going? That Maya, that power through which Ishvara creates the universe, is not easily understood. It escapes our comprehension. It escapes our grasp, so to speak. Why? So we're talking about the cause for which this universe which appears before us, the cause because of which it appears, which means we're going beyond appearance. We experience the world, we know what the world is about, but that world that appears before us has a source which is not perceptible. You perceive your dreams, but you don't perceive the mechanism through which your dreams are made. Otherwise, you'd know why you dream and what you're dreaming. So your dreams are perceived, but the power through which your dreams are created remains hidden from you. In the same way, we perceive the world that is created due to this capacity called Maya, the power of Maya, but we do not perceive the power itself. There's so much that we fail to perceive. Underlying realities we don't perceive. Mostly you see a pot, but the reality is clay. Or from a scientific standpoint, you can even appreciate the clay pot. Do you appreciate the atoms out of which this clay pot is made? So all the atoms, I don't know, what would it be? Earth is silica, not silicon. Silica is actually it's not an element. What is silica made of? Silicon oxide. See, it is silicon. So silicon and oxygen combine to form an element, not an element, a compound called silica. Anyway, we're being silly now. Anyway, this is made of these submicroscopic particles, atoms, that we can't perceive. An imperceptible reality because of which something appears. So, like the pot appears before you because of an unseen underlying reality, in the same way the universe appears because of an unseen underlying reality. The three gunas. You don't perceive the atoms in this pot, you don't perceive the sattva, rajas, and tamas out of which this universe is fabricated. And again, we're using sattva, rajas, tamas not as properties of the mind, but as fundamental realities, material realities. Okay, so Sri Krishna observes here that most people are stuck at the level of appearance and unable to go beyond that level of appearance. So he says, at the first half ended saying that Maya was dur atyaya, difficult to grasp, difficult to understand. And then Sri Krishna says, Mameva ye prapadyante, those who seek. Those who seek what? Mam eva, me alone. Those who seek me, what about them? The second line end, te, they, taranti, can cross, etam, mayam. We have to put all the words in the right order. Te, they, taranti, can cross. Cross over means to understand properly, to approach, to reach, to grasp. They can grasp etam mayam, they can understand this maya. Those who resort to me can understand maya, to paraphrase that. Why is that so? Well, to seek atoms will help you to go beyond the appearance of clay pot. We'll have fun with this verse. Only those who seek atoms can transcend being stuck on the appearance of clay pot. You get it, right? By seeking the underlying reality, you transcend the level of appearance. So too with the world. By seeking the underlying reality, you transcend the level of appearance, and the underlying reality is Ishvara. Go back to the dream metaphor. Suppose this, remember we used the example of lucid dream? Suppose this is your lucid dream. Everything here is your dream, and you know you're dreaming. Notice that you, sitting in your chair, you are a character in your own dream, as we often are, but I'm another character in your dream. And suppose I pray, Hey Bhagavan, Hey Vidhata. Now, I see, here, look at the irony. I'm praying, oh God, but the fact is, everything I experience is dreamer. There's only the dream world that I experience as your dream character. The dream world that I see all around me, that dream world is non-separate from you, the dreamer. I'll say that again. The dream world that I experience all around me is non-separate from you, the dreamer. Then why don't I'm praying, Hey Vidhata, oh God, imagining some creator in some other loka without appreciating that everything I experience is, in fact, a manifestation of you, the dreamer. The point I'm illustrating here is I am stuck at the level of appearance. I only see the dream world before me. I don't see you laying in your bed at home, sleeping nicely. I can only perceive this dream world. This is what I mean when I say to be stuck at the level of appearance. But one who seeks to go beyond the level of appearance and seeks the underlying reality, in this case, one who seeks Ishvara, can then transcend the level of appearance. Oh. Madhusudana Saraswati in his commentary, I've been using that commentary from time to time. Not time to time, I read it before each class. He gives a delightful metaphor about appreciating the difference between appearance and underlying reality. I've never seen this example anywhere else. It's very clever. Suppose a lady is standing in front of a mirror and she's going to apply her bindi. So she's standing in front of the mirror. She sees the image reflected. Does she take the bindi and apply it on the mirror? Wouldn't that be silly, right? Because the image in the mirror is a manifestation. It's a reflection. It's not the actual thing. So that woman standing in the mirror is smart enough to discern the difference between the image that's reflected and the lady standing here. So she doesn't put the bindi on the mirror, she puts the bindi on her forehead, and that's an illustration for one who can penetrate the level of appearance. By the way, when you look in the mirror, you only see the reflection, right? That's all you'll see is reflection. But she doesn't put the bindi there. She's penetrated the level of appearance, and she knows the reality is not there, the reality is here, so she properly places the bindi. So this is a nice metaphor that the commentator gives. Okay, let's continue. Namam dushkriti no mudhaha, namam dushkriti no mudhaha, prapadyante naradhamaha, prapadyante naradhamaha, mayaya pahrita jnana, mayaya pahrita jnana, asuram bhavamashvitaha, asuram bhavamashvitaha. Sri Krishna is going to use some harsh language here. We'll talk about that. So he says, the prior verse, he was talking about those who ye prapadyante, those who seek me. Ye mam prapadyante, those who seek me, but most people don't. And that's who he's talking about in this next verse. He says that there are others who na prapadyante, you have to connect those two words, na prapadyante mam. There are others who don't seek, mam is a pronoun me. There are others who don't seek me. Who are those? Mudhaha, the deluded ones, the ignorant ones, the ones who are dushkritinaha. Really harsh language. People who do nasty things are dushkritinaha. People who are, in a second line, nara adhamaha, the lowest of people. Really harsh language. I'll talk about why in just a moment. So there are others who fail to seek me. Who are those? The lowest of men, those who are deluded. And who he's talking about here are what we would often call materialists, in the sense of people who are unable to even imagine a reality beyond that which you see. A materialist is one who says, what you see is what you get. That is, that the material universe is the only reality. There is no reality because of which the universe exists. If you ask that person, where did the universe come from? They'll say it comes from the Big Bang. If you ask, where does the Big Bang come from? They may not have a suitable answer, but they won't go beyond the physical universe. One who is stuck at that level of physical reality, the term that's often used is materialist. And Sri Krishna here has some really harsh language for those materialists. I want to finish the verse and then make a point about why he's using such harsh language. But in the second half, he says that for those materialists, they are, third line, apahrita jnanaha, breaking the words apart. Those whose jnana, understanding, is apahrita, robbed away, mayaya, breaking the words apart, by maya. They're literally, he says, their understanding has been robbed away by maya. What does it mean to have your understanding robbed away by maya? It means to be deceived by appearance. What you see is what you get. So maya is present in the three gunas of the universe that we experience, and to be fixated on that material universe as being the only reality is what Sri Krishna means, to have your jnana, your understanding, apahrita, robbed away, mayaya, by this power of maya, by the just like me, remember the dream character, the dream Swami. So I am unable to appreciate you, the dreamer, because I'm fixated at this level of appearance. And this appearance that I see before me is born of your dream Shakti. Remember, we used that term before. The power you have to dream has created this apparent universe in which I, your dream character, exist, and I'm fixated and stuck at this level of appearance, unable to penetrate this level of appearance and understand a deeper reality, you, the dreamer. Therefore, Sri Krishna says that they are apahrita jnana, their wisdom has been robbed away by this power of maya, and they are asuram bhavam ashritaha. His final harsh description here. They are ashritaha, depending upon or based upon asuram bhavam, the state of being an asura. Asura means demon. And they are stuck with demonic personalities, someone might translate this. They have this demonic disposition. Now, the question here is, why would Sri Krishna use such harsh language to talk about this? And let's examine this. This is very harsh language. He doesn't just call them materialists and leave it at that, but he calls them the lowest of men, doers of bad deeds, deluded, and having demonic personalities. So why does Sri Krishna use such harsh language? One of many unique features of being a human being. Being a human being is something we probably take for granted. You don't wake up in the morning and say, thank goodness I'm not a dog. The thought doesn't enter our mind. We take our humanity for granted. And maybe that's a problem, because there's many things that are absolutely special, unique, glorious about having a human life. And one of the many features that is glorious about being a human being is this. Amongst all living beings, that we know of anyway, only one kind of being can ask the question, where did we come from? We can look up into the night sky, see all the stars and planets, and wonder, where did all this come from? Where did we come from? That's remarkable. Only a human being can do that. Sri Krishna here is using such harsh language because if we fail to ask that question, where did we come from? What is the reality behind this appearance? If we fail to inquire in this manner, we're actually failing to embrace our full humanity, or to put it in other terms, and to approach Sri Krishna's harsh language here, someone who fails to even inquire into where all this came from. Where did we come from? Where did the universe come from? Someone who fails to inquire in that manner is behaving like an animal. That's the point. Animals don't inquire. If we fail to inquire, we're no better than a dog. And that's why Sri Krishna uses such harsh language here. To be born as a human being is considered an amazing gift. There are some scriptures that go on that say that your birth as a human being is due to so much good karma. Otherwise, you would be born as a cockroach or a dog or any number of lower forms. You, to use some modern language, you got the jackpot in being born as a human being. It is a rare privilege. And since being born as a human being is a rare privilege, to squander the glory that it is to be born as a human being is considered horrible, to squander that privilege. And that's why Sri Krishna uses such harsh language here. Those materialists who don't even entertain the question, where did all this come from? They are squandering one of the glories of being a human being by failing to inquire deeper. Okay, then. We'll chant the verse, then I'll introduce it properly. Chaturvidha bhajante mam, chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukriti norjuna, jana sukriti norjuna, arto jignasurartarti, arto jignasurartarti, jnani cha bharatarshabha, jnani cha bharatarshabha. So in a prior verse, we talked about those who fail to seek further, those who squander this glory of human life to inquire into what is the source of all. Here he's talking about the other side. What about those who do seek further? And I just saw a connection that I hadn't noticed before. In the prior verse, Sri Krishna uses the word dushkritinaha. And dushkritina could also mean not just people who do bad deeds now, but prior lives. Those who are born with so-called bad karma. Being born with bad karma, maybe they are disinclined towards higher forms of thought. And contrast that word dushkritinaha, and here I'm reinterpreting it, those who are born with papa karma, bad karma. Look at the second line, sukritinaha is the opposite. So now we're talking about those who are born with good karma. So first of all, good karma means to be born as a human being at all is good karma, but not just being born as a human being, but rather sukritinaha, those who are born with good karma to become a human being, janaha, those people who, first line, bhajante mam, those who worship me, or paraphrase, those who seek me. Since he has used the word prapadyante twice in prior verses. So bhajante, prapadyante, those who worship me or those who seek me. Arjuna, at the end of the second line, O Arjuna, janaha, people, sukritinaha, who are born with good karma. What about them? Bhajante mam. They worship me, they seek me, as opposed to the ones we talked about in the prior verse. What about them? They are chatur vidha. They come in they belong to four categories. There are four kinds of people who worship me. Now we're going to see a fourfold distinction amongst those human beings who have the higher aspiration. Sri Krishna puts them in four categories. I'll just read them and then I'll go to the board so that you can understand better. The four categories are the artaha, the distressed. I'll put this on the board in just a moment. Now, please turn this slide off. Thank you. Yeah. So those the four categories are artaha, distressed, jignasuhu, seekers of wisdom, artarti, one who seeks blessings, jnani cha, and the wise. Bharatarshaba, O mighty Arjuna. These are the four categories. The words may be Oh, thank you. I'm supposed to push this button here. There we go. Thank you. So these four by the way, the words are also a little out of order, so I'll put them in proper order. Out of order because, remember, these are verses which have meter, and word order is frequently shifted to accommodate the meter of these verses. So the first category is called artaha. We just say artha. Artha is one who is distressed. I'll define these first, and then I will sit down and explain them in a little more detail. Second comes the arti, the one who seeks blessings. I'll explain all this in just a moment. Then the jignasu, the one who seeks knowledge, and specifically knowledge of Ishvara, not knowledge in any general sense, but knowledge of Ishvara. And finally is the jnani, the one who has knowledge, the one who is enlightened. So these are the four categories. Contrasted with the prior verse, the materialists, these four categories of human beings are those who seek Ishvara, those who want to go beyond the world of appearance and appreciate a deeper reality. Let's take a moment now to understand each of these four in a little bit more details. Artha, the one who is distressed, is the one who only prays when things are bad. You all know someone like that. Someone who never goes to a temple, never goes to an ashram, never prays until something bad happens. Then they pray, oh God, please help me. Now, before we proceed, please understand Sri Krishna is not being critical of that person. This is not criticism. Last verse was criticism, heavy criticism. Here, Sri Krishna is praising all four of these categories, including the person who only prays in times of distress. So this is not a put down, as we say in American English, but it is, we can say it is the lowest of the four. And we'll see how that is so as we proceed. But Sri Krishna is not saying this is bad or negative. At least they pray. even though they only pray at times of distress. The second, artarti. Arta, arti. And these two words, arta, have different meanings. I'll spare you all the Sanskrit and say one who is arti, a seeker of artha. In this context, whatever you want. And I put up blessings, one who seeks blessings. Who is the artarti? Is one who prays, hey Bhagavan, please help me with this, please give me this, please give me that. Sometimes these prayers say, so the prayers sound always like ye de do, ye be de do. Please give me this, please give me that. And it's not unusual for people to pray like that. Again, Sri Krishna is not being critical here. Don't misunderstand. Because at least that person acknowledges Ishvara as the source of everything, so that prayer is meaningful. Praying to the source of everything, please help me get what I need. So it's not wrong, but it's just not the highest expression of seeking. In fact, one could be critical and say, the typical scene. Someone goes to the altar and prays, oh, please give me this, please give me that. And then they put some money in the hundi before walking out. That looks suspiciously like a bribe. Looks that way. But again, Sri Krishna is not being critical here. In fact, in 2 verses, he's going to say, Udaraha sarve eva ete. Ete. These, sarve, all of these, the A of sarve drops, all of these are udaraha. All of these people are noble. He's going to say that in 2 more verses, so please don't misunderstand. He's not putting them down. Okay. But we would say that it's not the highest expression, is the one who prays for specific things. Then we move on to the next level. Jignasu is literally one who wants to know. That's what the word jignasu means. And in this context, one who wants to know Ishvara. So we're saying that the glory of the human condition is the ability to inquire. Where did all this come from? Where did I come from? So that jignasu is the one who seeks knowledge of Ishvara, and the jnani is one who was a jignasu and was successful in gaining knowledge of Ishvara. And gaining knowledge of Ishvara is gaining knowledge of everything. It's gaining knowledge of reality. It's becoming enlightened. So before I put this slide aside, please notice the order. I've changed the order to put them in a more logical order, starting with the artha. By the way, we're in life, we all go through a progression. I think we all start off as that artha. We pray in times of distress. As we become a little bit more mature, we can become artartis. We can pray for Ishvara, for support, for blessings. Then we can become more mature, understanding the limitations of what we can achieve through worldly blessings. We can pray for something more than worldly blessings, to seek knowledge of Ishvara. And finally, we can gain knowledge of Ishvara. So these 4, are described by Sri Krishna as being janaha, in the second line, people who are sukritinaha, who are born due to good karmas, and they are in these 4 categories. He's going now to talk about which, if Sri Krishna is dividing them in 4 categories, there must be some purpose in doing so. And we'll see his purpose in the next verse. Tesham jnani nitya yukta, Tesham jnani nitya yukta, Eka bhaktir vishishyate, Eka bhaktir vishishyate, Priyo hi jnani no tyartam, Priyo hi jnani no tyartam, Aham sacha mama priyaha, Aham sacha mama priyaha. Tesham, among them, among who? Among these four categories. Among them, jnani, and connect that with the second line end, vishishyate, the last word in the second line. Jnani, the jnani is the final of the four we just discussed, the one who is enlightened, the one who has personally discovered who and what is Ishvara. That jnani, vishishyate, excels. Something is special about that jnani. Of the four categories, that jnani, the fourth category, stands out. Why? And Sri Krishna gives two words here that explain why it is that jnani is special. He says, first of all, that the jnani is nitya yukta, constantly connected. Yukta here in this context, connected. Nitya yukta, always connected. Connected to whom? Connected to Ishvara. Notice that the artha only connects to Ishvara. By the way, to connect is kind of fundamental to prayer. The most simple definition of prayer is to appreciate your relationship to Ishvara, to connect to Ishvara, to use a modern kind of expression. So the artha is one who connects to Ishvara only in times of trouble. The artarthi is one who connects to Ishvara only when he or she wants something. The jignasu is one who wants to connect to Ishvara, but the jnani is one who is nitya yukta, constantly connected. There's a wonderful term in the surprisingly for me to quote from the Bible, but a nice expression that comes in the Bible, I don't recall where, it is the expression to pray without ceasing. To pray without ceasing. To pray continuously. And here the jnani is described as nitya yukta, and we can paraphrase that as one who prays continuously. Now, I don't mean praying in a very mechanical sense, but we just define prayer as an act of relationship, an act of connecting. So one who recognizes that he or she is constantly connected. Connected how? Well, let's see one more word, and then I'll explain what is the nature of that connection. Actually, I'll explain. Connected how? Constantly connected how? In two ways. One is the jnani appreciates Ishvara at two levels. One is Ishvara is the divine presence within, the inner divinity. Secondly, Ishvara is the one who is manifest as the world of appearance. So the jnani, if the jnani turns his or her attention within, you appreciate Ishvara within as that divine reality, inner self. And when the jnani turns attention outside, more Ishvara. Wherever you look, Ishvara. Everywhere, Ishvara. What is that story about? There's some Marathi saint. Many of you will know this story better than I. But who is it? No. I don't think it's Jnaneshwara. But this fellow was sitting in a Shiva temple with his feet up on the linga. Someone here must know that story. Who is it? No. No, it's a Marathi saint, and I forget which one. It might be Namadev. I'm not sure. Anyway, the story goes like this. My memory of some of these stories is quite poor. But he was sitting with his feet up on a linga. And some wise person came in a temple, was horrified. How can you put your feet up on the linga? And he says, that's Lord Shiva. You can't put your feet on Lord Shiva. So this saint said, okay, put my feet where Lord Shiva is not. So he lifted up the feet, put them over here. Another linga, according to the story, another linga appeared under the feet. Moved the feet over here. Another linga appeared under the feet. Wherever he put the feet, a linga appeared. Nice story to show the point where is Ishvara not present? That's what it is to be nitya yukta, eternally connected, constantly connected, always appreciating Ishvara's presence in every single situation. This is the jnani, the enlightened one, who is eka bhaktihi in the second line. The one whose bhakti is one. One meaning only. We said before, it's not that there's one God, but rather there is only God. So here, one in that sense of only. Eka bhakti is one who has devotion only for God, and God is God who is all, Ishvara who is all. Then Sri Krishna concludes here. It's tricky. That word aham in the third line in the fourth line, it belongs on the third line. It didn't fit. You can only have 8 syllables in a quarter. It didn't fit, so you have to bring that word aham. Aham, Sri Krishna says, aham, I am priyaha, loved. I am loved, jnaninaha, for the jnani. I am loved, atyartam, extremely. For the jnani, I am extremely loved. And he uses that word priya, loved. And I'm going to explain that in just a moment. And in the final line, sahacha, and he is priyaha mama, and he is beloved to me. I am extremely beloved for the jnani, and the jnani is extremely beloved to me, Sri Krishna says. To understand that, we have to, this idea of what it means to love or be beloved, we need you can't base your understanding of love, sorry to say, on these Bollywood movies where the hero and heroine have this such intense love, and it's brought out so dramatically, and all these fanciful stories. That's not, obviously, that's not the kind of love Sri Krishna is talking about here. One important way of understanding love, he uses the word priya here, and priya in the sense of loved. And an important way of understanding love is a sense, we've already used the word, the sense of being connected. Let me use another term. To be connected, you can be connected at a long distance. When you're talking to someone on a cell phone, you're connected, but at a long distance. How about being connected where there's zero distance? We often use the word intimacy when we're talking about human kinds of love. And intimate, the word intimate, suggests closeness, does it not? How close can you come to someone? How intimately connected, how closely connected can you become? That sense of intimacy is what Sri Krishna is referring to with the word priya. To be so intimately connected, there's no difference, no distinction, no boundary between lover and loved. By the way, just in human love, isn't that kind of what it feels like? You merge with that person. You like enter into the person. You become non-separate from the one you love. There's a sense of this intense intimacy, a sense of non-separateness. And that's what Sri Krishna means here. A sense of non-separateness. When you truly know who and what Ishvara is, you find yourself never separate from Ishvara. And as I said before, in two senses, you are never separate from Ishvara. You're never separate from Ishvara because Ishvara abides within you as the inner divinity which earlier we've explained as being your essential nature as consciousness. The essence of who you are as consciousness is Ishvara's divine presence within. In that sense, you are utterly non-separate from Ishvara. And now, based on this chapter, in a second sense, you are utterly non-separate from Ishvara because Ishvara is all this. Let's go back to that dream metaphor one last time. So remember, this is your lucid dream. I am a character in your dream. Now suppose I am an enlightened character in your dream. That is to say that I know that you are the dreamer laying in your bed in New Jersey. Somehow I know this as an enlightened dream character. But now, as an enlightened dream character, what is my relationship to you? Now, the you laying in bed, I can't have a direct relationship with. You, the dreamer, laying in bed. But I can indeed have a direct relationship with you, manifest in the form of this dream creation. In fact, let's go, I said before, 2 levels. So as an enlightened dream character, I am related to you, the dreamer, in 2 ways. One is, you, the dreamer, are the reality because of which I exist. As an enlightened dream character, I know that. Because of you, the dreamer, you are in me as the very reality because of which I exist. As your enlightened dream character, I know this very well. The second way that I'm related to you, the dreamer, is that I know all this is you, the dreamer. I'm not only seeing the dreamer, I'm walking through. If I walk across the floor, I'm walking through the dream world, which is a manifestation of the dreamer. I'm walking through the dreamer. What that means is that an enlightened person not only appreciates Ishvara's presence within, but appreciates Ishvara as being everything that exists. Therefore, the enlightened person feels like they are walking through Ishvara. And that's not some kind of facetious image. It's a very real sense that you are walking through Ishvara, you are living within Ishvara, You exist within Ishvara, and in that sense, you are never, ever separate from Ishvara. That's the sense of intimacy, non-separation that Sri Krishna says, means to convey here in this final part. For the jnani, I am, and I'll paraphrase now, for the jnani, I am non-separate from him or her, and the jnani is non-separate from me. For the jnani, I am non-separate. I am absolutely present, immediately present. Okay, this is a good place to conclude our class. One important announcement before we conclude, and that is we have a new Sanskrit class starting. Some of you might be interested in. And this is a class that's going to teach reading skills, which means you need to have grammar skills first. Presuming you have some basic grammar skills, this class is going to focus on building reading skills, and it's going to do so through the study of the Bhagavad Gita. Wonderful way to learn to read. You go through Bhagavad Gita verses and you learn how to read and understand those verses. This class will be taught by Vasanti, who turns out to be an extremely skillful teacher. So she will begin the class. The class will meet online on Wednesday evenings at 6 p.m. and it'll start this coming Wednesday. If you want to sign up for the class, go to our homepage, and you can sign up for reading comprehension on our homepage, and you can join the class starting next Wednesday. Okay, we will conclude with our prayers at the altar. Om Gananahan Tva Ganapatigam Havamahe Kavim Gavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspataha Nashranvan Utabasira Sadhanam Mahaganapataye Namaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Mahamritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.